Hello, everyone, and welcome back to I'ma Talk About It. I am super excited for today's episode, but before I start talking about it, let me introduce myself. My name is Alicia. Sometimes I go by Ngozi. My pronouns are she, her, and I am an empowerment coach and ancestral healer. Today's episode, which has been on my mind for the last month, is called Juneteenth. Let's talk appropriation. So thank you so much for joining today and showing up for yourself. I really hope you find some value in today's episode. We're going to talk about Juneteenth, as you all know, has become a federal holiday. We're going to talk about appropriation, see it, say it, and then I'm going to give you some advice on how not to appropriate Juneteenth because it's happening like wildfire. So to begin, Juneteenth, I'm not going to give you the full rundown, but it is the Black folks, African folks, however you identify, our Freedom Day. It was officially proclaimed as freedom during the time of slavery. For everyone who was enslaved at the time, they were officially free. So if you need any additional information, I challenge you to go look up the information yourself, self-educate. It's a great way to activate, teach yourself, and teach people around you. So I wanted to talk about this today because now that it is a federal holiday, with the quickness, like most other holidays, big business has begun to appropriate Juneteenth. We are starting to see Juneteenth ice cream, Juneteenth bags, Juneteenth quotes, like all of this Juneteenth information. But why is this super important? So if you don't know what appropriation is, it's literally the action of taking something for one's own use without asking for permission. And it shows up a lot in corporations. So as it applies to Juneteenth, there's companies who are taking Juneteenth and profiting off of the holiday itself. They are making money off of something that does not belong to them. So it's really important that everybody understand that in order for us to start to undo this type of behavior. And I really wanted to share this story because when I worked at a previous company, I worked at a couple larger scale companies, but one in particular at the time wanted to recognize Juneteenth. And so they wanted to highlight a Black person to kind of share, to share their story and how they felt about Juneteenth. They wanted to make sure that they were going about it in the correct way. So they reached out to the Black Employee Resource Group at the time. So let me actually tell this story and then I'll kind of point out what's going on here. So they were asked, this is what we're going to put out into our social media platform. This is how we want to share their stories. This is a description we want to use. So it's the marketing team. And they're asking the Black community, employee resource group, not a business resource group, to look at what they are saying and ask for advice, just to make sure that they're not being offensive or they're doing anything wrong. There were a couple comments in the email that were also like, it's super light lifting, not too much going on. We're just sharing their quote. So we just want to highlight and celebrate in a way that aligns and, all the stuff. And it said that they were gifting them something small. I won't say all of the details because it will give it away instantly. And so I had to sit with this for a while, because as a person in that group, the Black Employee Resource Group, one of the things that we felt was super important is self-education. And the line that tends to get blurred between employee resource groups. So if anybody doesn't know what employee resource group, they're usually like a community-based group within a company. They get started if like you have something in common, and usually there's like guidelines, you have like 5 or more people, yada yada yada. So our commonality was that we were Black. So we started a Black employee resource group. So I think in that situation, you know, some people were okay with sharing that information and reviewing the information for whatever reasons, and some people were not. I specifically believe that if you are going to be asking for help or for support on something that's about a certain community, outsource it, so it doesn't expose that community to gaslighting. So there's like a very thin line of shifting into that area of gaslighting. So let me just go back really quickly because I'm digressing. But so my comment back was, or my question back about the small gift was, you know, do you think that suffices on a holiday that, you know, was and is about freedom, and that community, the Black community, is still owed reparations? So did we think it was wise to not pay them? And do we think it was wise to define what light lifting meant? Because even though they thought it was a small story, we shouldn't assume what emotions come up with this person. And we shouldn't assume that it's easy for them to do. If you are requiring someone's energy, that does not mean it's light lifting. If anything, it could be heavy lifting if you are requesting things from people, right? And so we had a conversation about how they needed to make sure that down the road, if they are to request anything from a Black person on Juneteenth, that they are paid, and they are paid very well. And that it should be a part of the budget, because it wasn't even in the budget at the time. So I think that's a big lesson for a lot of companies, right? Like if you are planning to feature a Black person, an African person on Juneteenth, and you do not pay them well, and you are profiting, because I guarantee you, because I've been in those meetings, the marketing team goes through every single post and measures their engagement, their impressions, all of it, right? Like one post can drive millions of sales to one product. So if you are making millions of dollars off of a post because you also gained new followers for being inclusive and featuring a Black person and sharing their story, you need to fork up the money to pay them well. Don't even go asking around for quotes from people if you don't even have a budget. Like, what are you thinking? That's like, it makes me so upset to think about. And even as I talk about it right now, like I'm trying to be very intentional about what I'm saying. It's really important that we are super mindful about Juneteenth and how everybody approaches it being a federal holiday. And if you are an ally and celebrated Juneteenth, I also invite you to think about how you celebrated Juneteenth. Were you educating yourself? Were you putting money back into the community whose holiday it's for? Were you educating your family and friends? Were you spending time with your children sharing stories about why Juneteenth is important? Maybe doing a love exercise with them, teaching them. I think, and I've come across this a lot in conversations where, and you look at our education as well, that people are scared to share stories, truthful stories, out of shame. And there's always a way to approach it with children so that you are not causing trauma, because they are young, depending on how young they are when you share these stories. There's a way to educate them to do better than what we are doing. And I just hope that if you were partaking in Juneteenth, that you did not take advantage of the holiday that didn't and does not belong to you. And if you are a big company and you're profiting off of Juneteenth, it's disgusting. It's a poor example of how we should act, and to not use your platform to share important messages and instead profit. It's disgusting. If you are a part of these companies, and I know that sometimes we don't have a choice, right, to be a part of some companies. Maybe we need to take care of ourselves, right? The system is kind of built that way. If you have the means to say something safely within your company about appropriation, do it. Especially if you are an ally. That specifically goes for allies. Because there were many times when I was in meetings having to explain why this was appropriation. And it shouldn't have to come from me. It shouldn't even make it to my desk. It shouldn't even be near me. Like, where you at, leadership team, to be honest? And another thing, because I've experienced this as well, if you are on the leadership team and you are asking a community, let's say the Black community, to write a Juneteenth letter from you because you are too fucking busy, it's disgusting. If you believe in freedom and Juneteenth, write your own fucking letter, okay? I experienced that firsthand, and it was awful. If you are so far up in the business's butt that you can't write your own letter on a federal holiday that's extremely important, you need to reprioritize. And I feel like there's going to be people, because there's always people who say that they're just too busy. If you're too fucking busy to fight for freedom, I need you to get the hell out of the way. Resign from your job and give it to someone who believes in it and believes in their employees and believes in supporting them in a healthy way, in a psychologically safe way, in an inclusive way. And I really hope that for the future that we can change this, because I can't even, and I've had this conversation with so many other people, imagine having a child and them having the same freaking conversations that we're having today. Like, I just cannot. Like, and even with the news today, with the overturn of Roe v. Wade, like, I just, like, we all need to do better. And big businesses specifically, if you are using your platform to appropriate and profit off of a community, shut it the fuck down. What are you doing? And for anybody who's there supporting them doing this, I would think twice about what you're supporting. Educate yourself. I am a strong believer in know better, do better, and see it and say it, because we've all been there, right? Like, we've all made decisions that weren't great, that, you know, we probably all have appropriated a culture at some point because it was normal before. But now we know better. So why is it still happening? And who are the people in charge making these decisions? If you are that person in charge, I highly, highly suggest you seek help. If you are okay profiting off of a community and not giving all of those profits back, yeah, yeah. And I hope that for the Black community and people who are African, however you identify and you celebrated this holiday, I hope that you had so much fun and freedom, because you absolutely deserve it. My partner and I celebrated Juneteenth amongst a giant community of Black people, and it was so healing, so beautiful, such an amazing thing. So much resilience, so much happiness, so much just raw, just fucking excellence and talent. Like, we just walked into the room and I was like, dang, nobody can dress like us. No one can move like us, right? Like, no one can sing like us, look like us, speak curvy like us. So it was just a really, really beautiful experience. And again, I just really hope that for people who are listening today and you are an ally and you are not a part of the Black or African community, I really hope that you do right. Because your actions, as I always say, ripple through time and change the trajectory of our lineages. So if you don't do anything about it now, it's going to make it worse for the future. And that is a part of my mission, to always break generational cycles. That's why I'm here, teaching people how to do that, how to share their stories, how to stop things from repeating themselves so that we don't have to deal with this later, how to make a better impact on the world instead of destroying the world. I really invite you to do better, to support the communities that need supporting, to talk to the people in your circle who may need really deep conversations and talking to send signals and messages that other people's behavior are inappropriate, because lives depend on it. The future depends on it. So on that note, I thank you all for showing up today, for listening. if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any call outs about any of my episodes, let me know. I am in the market to still keep learning and growing and healing. So if I misspoke or said something, just let me know. Like, I'm open to it. Let's have a conversation. Let's hold space. And thank you so much for joining today. I'm going to have other episodes that pop up. I've decided I'm just going to record whenever I want to record. And I have a Kick the Shit Happiness Challenge coming on Monday, and we're going to be breaking generational cycles, finding our happiness so we can have a more positive impact on the world. It's absolutely free. And if you are interested in joining, just let me know. Send me a message that says kick in the shit, and we'll celebrate you. We will get you on board, get you in the Facebook group where I share resources daily. So please, please, please just let me know. Tell your friends and family. I am here to support you all. And if you are really in it to win it, I have a 90-day Ascend to Happiness program for those who are really looking to make deep, deep change, deep healing, and fully change the trajectory of their lineage and leave a legacy. So just let me know. I am here to support you. Thank you all again so much for showing up today, showing up for yourself, showing up for the future, showing up for the world, y'all. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love, and stay well.